Yeah. Let's get on the 90s cause today.
What was your favorite part about the 90s?
I think the TV was so much better, honestly, off the top of my head, right? Like, I was a huge wrestling fan. I know you didn't like wrestling, but dude, 90s wrestling was the shit.
I hear that from a lot of people. Like you said, I was never really into it, but I do hear that people loved, late 80s, early 90s wrestling
Well,
significantly more.
the things that we allowed on TV back then were, I mean, it was awesome. But for a kid, like seeing that, like, I guess you could be traumatized, like in today's world, from it. Because I mean, they would degrade women, and I mean, they would cuss, and they would make fun of like Bill Clinton for sleeping with that lady. You know, I can think of so many good scenes though. I mean, that was my favorite thing every Monday night. Monday Night Raw, dude.
When it's amazing, you talk about the Clinton scandal. How many people like that weren't around then will never know anything about that?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, nobody's gonna remember that, and but us that grew up through that.
Well, I mean, and that's how, you feel like you start starting to get old when I could tell that story and tell a Clinton joke and people are like, well, who the fuck was that?
They know Hillary. There was well, I think you know this story, but one of our old work buddies and I were sitting at a bar down there, and it was just us, and I think it was after work, after we got off work one of those days, and we were hanging out there, and it wasn't the best bar, but I think I know you know what bar I'm talking about. It's next to the one with the drive-through.
Oh, yeah.
And it's me and our buddy Joe, and there's this other guy in there, and he's hammered. I don't know if you've heard this story. Have you heard this?
No.
Oh my gosh! So we're sitting in there, and they had like at the time where you could buy these towers of beer in there, where you get like 120 ounces of beer.
Right.
Yep. So we're sitting there drinking, and this guy's in there hammered, and he starts talking about Clinton, Bill Clinton, and he's going on, and he's like starts talking about Monica Lewinsky, and how he got away with doing all that to Monica, and he was doing some fake interview, and he was like, "So Monica, what'd you do with all the evidence?" And he's like, "I swallowed all the evidence. Okay, I swallowed it all."
Oh, shit.
So we're dying, and he keeps going, and I wish we had this recorded, and it was back when like iPhones just came out and you had video on your phone. I don't have that video saved anymore. I wish I did, but he pulls out a samurai out of the back of his pants and starts swinging this thing around, dude.
Oh,
And
my
he's going
God.
crazy. It's like like you see like on oh gosh, like what's like Bear Grylls Survivor or whatever, when they're going through the forest, and
Like a machete.
yes, and they're just chopping the leaves. This guy is swinging this around in the bar, and he's gone. And but the lady behind the bar is always serving him, so she must have knew him and was okay with him. But
Wow. Nothing like those good old bar stories.
no,
Bars and
there's
politics, I feel like, go hand in hand anyway.
yeah,
But
yes,
the one where why Monica Lewinsky will never vote Democrat again, right?
no way.
The last time she did, it left a bad taste in her mouth.
I think you have told me that actually.
No, in the 90s were loaded full of stuff like that. You know what I really miss about the 90s though the most?
I think you missed Blockbuster.
I miss Hollywood Video and Blockbuster and making it a Friday night. People today will have no appreciation for what a Friday night used to be in the 90s.
No, because now you just sit at home. You don't even have to go out.
I mean, everything's at your fingertips now. Before, you made a night of it to go order a pizza, go rent a couple movies, and that's what you did.
Yeah. Yeah, like Blockbuster was crowded on a Friday night. I would go rent a game, and then, my family would get a movie. And you'd go in there, and I used to see like the big buckets of popcorn they used to sell, so it would make you feel like you were in the movies.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh my gosh. And then Hollywood came out like a little bit after and got big and challenged Blockbuster a little bit.
Do you remember videotape rewinders?
No, didn't
Yep.
they just come in a VHS?
No, you could actually buy another machine that strictly just rewound the tapes.
I guess I never had one of those.
And you put it in there, and the idea was you could avoid wearing out your VCR by rewinding your tapes in this rewinder.
Oh, so it wouldn't get like caught and tear up the tape in there?
Yeah, and it supposedly went a little bit faster.
I didn't know that. No.
You know,
You know, my
nowadays you just start the movie over again. You know, there's none of that crap you have to go through.
Yeah, you know what's hard though is like rewind now. Like nobody will ever understand. I think rewind was a lot better back then than it is now because it's got to load up again.
Exactly. It's not a actual, you're not rewinding an actual tape.
You actually got to like see it rewind, and when you got to the spot, you got to hit play.
Yeah. It'd have the blurry lines going across the screen for a minute.
Yeah, yeah. And then, did you ever? Was it tracking like when the video would come in a little scratchy? You'd
Yep.
have to like click the tracking button up or down to get it to like the right picture quality.
Yeah, you'd have to adjust how the tape was getting fed through the
Oh my gosh.
VCR.
Yes, I forget all about this.
God, what a pain in the butt.
Yeah, and then we got dial-up internet.
Oh, what a pride and joy that one was. And you had a backup number in case the other one was too busy.
Yeah, my grandparents had two phone lines for that reason. So like one was their personal,
Yeah.
and then the other phone line was the one that they got on the internet for. So they had two phone numbers in their house.
Oh, that's right. Because if somebody would call you, it would show that your phone was busy if you were on the internet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you remember how long it used to take to like load up too, and all those sounds it would make
Oh, it was
just before it connected?
horrific. It sounded just like a fax machine.
Yes. Yeah. And back then everyone had AOL or even MSN. I still got an MSN email, dude.
Yeah, lots of people do still.
Oh my gosh. You know, my mom still runs AOL.
That's crazy.
She
Dial
just
up?
no, just the program. She still has an AOL email as her main email. Like she's had the same email for years, so I guess if the hackers are listening now, I mean, they'll find her. But I'm gonna force her to get a new email now.
Wow.
Yeah, I bet she's had that same email for over 30 years, honestly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like for us, remember fun was getting in a like a AOL chat room back in the day.
Yeah, where they had like 1,000 people in there.
Yeah. And you ask people, remember ASL?
Yep.
Be like, hey, ASL.
Oh, like I'm a 15F from California.
15F. My God. 15/F/CA.
Yeah.
Oh, that was crazy.
What
I
a
forgot
freaking
all.
creep show, dude.
Right? No doubt.
Like,
And you do that now, it's like you don't ever know who you're dealing with now, dude.
no, today, I mean, especially you don't know. People are crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, people have gone loco nowadays.
God, you gotta wonder who exactly you were talking to back then. Now that you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you never heard of anything back then though either because I mean, you were still harder to find back then,
Yeah.
you know.
No,
And as dude, there were so many things. Like I mean, even pagers. Did you have a pager?
I never had a pager. I knew lots of people that did though.
And that's how some people started like texting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they'd have like certain codes that meant certain things.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. And I think that's probably how texting came about with technology later on because people were like, well, we can type with our phones.
Can you even buy a pager anymore?
Well, isn't that the same concept though as a text message now? Really? Like honestly,
I
it's
think
just
so.
an upgraded text message system where before you would enter the phone number you wanted the person to see.
You had to pull over and go find a phone to call them to call that number.
Yeah, payphone. I mean, when was the last time you saw a payphone?
Right.
right? Like I can't even think of the last place I've seen a payphone, even if they still exist. You know what? Walmart has one.
You know, there's
I think.
one down by Metcalf Park too.
Do you think they still run? You think they're operational?
I would be very surprised, man.
Metcalf Park, giving away location keys right here, dude.
Hey, people might need to know where these payphones are at.
Yeah,
They had like
you
a
might.
phone book hanging by a cord.
Oh my gosh, I forgot that. And then you got to look up the number right there. Yes,
Yeah, and like
yes,
actually physically look through an entire book for a phone number for a business.
right,
You had the yellow
right.
pages that would make it faster.
That's right, man. Yeah, and kids won't even understand what it was like to go through a phone book nowadays.
How about a library where you had to go through the card catalog? Do you remember doing that?
I didn't do that one. That one pissed me off. I stayed away.
I can tell you, I remember going to the public library and I was looking for a very specific book one time for school,
Yeah.
and I didn't put not a one of them cards back where they went.
Oh no, dude. I was probably. I never understood that one growing up. So I stayed away. I would just go find something I liked, and then where it got back, it got back. But I mean, look at all the things that are making comebacks now, like Tamagotchi. Like my own kid has one now.
Uh-oh.
Do you remember? Do you remember those? Did you have
Oh,
one?
I never had one, but I remember people having them at school where it's like a cyber pet.
Yeah. Well, there was the Gigapet, which I don't think is around anymore. I could be wrong. A lot of people had that one, but I had the Tamagotchi.
You gotta like feed it, and if you don't feed it, it dies, and you have to reset the entire thing.
Yeah, you basically got to change its diaper and play with it and feed it and take care of it like it's its own. And then, like even Furby, I think was a hot item this year for the Christmas list.
Is that right?
Yeah, Furby. My daughter got a Furby this year.
Wow. I remember when those were brand new in the 90s, my grandparents went and bought one and they thought it was just the coolest thing.
Didn't they just talk
It talked, I mean, you could like,
and shake?
it would listen to you too, and you could like teach it things.
Yeah. Did it talk? Oh, it talked back to you, huh?
Yeah, it would say things, you could give it commands and it would listen, and kind of creepy if you think about it.
Yeah, now it's probably connected to Wi-Fi, so it's probably going back over the feeds.
It was probably hooked up to the dark webs.
Yep. Yep. I mean, even I'm looking like at a list right now, like
That's how,
slap bracelets.
that's how,
Remember how cool slap bracelets were?
oh yeah. Yeah, those are still pretty popular though. My daughter loves those.
I know, I know. But what about how we used to listen to music? Or did you ever have a Walkman?
Oh yeah, I had when I'm so old, man, I had one that actually took tapes.
I remember those.
And then I had one that took CDs.
Yep. The Discman, right? Because the
Oh, yep.
Walkman took tapes, and then it was the Discman, right?
Yep. And then you had to be careful with that because you had to make sure you bought the right one that wouldn't skip if you turned it upside down or something.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Now it's all at the palm of our fingers. We can just look at it. But I mean, even look at like Game Boy. Game Boy's it's still basically around. You still got the Switch,
Oh yeah.
just a more advanced version that you can put on your TV now.
Here's one for you. Do you remember getting a Discman and having the adapter kit so that you could listen to it in your car
Yeah.
and having to
Yeah.
put that tape on a cord inside your tape player?
Yes. Oh yeah. Because you plugged it in and then you had to put it in the cassette player
Yep.
to have it play through there. I forgot all about that. Oh my gosh, dude.
Some of this stuff, people would just laugh their head off if they saw how we used to have to do some of this to get things working, like LimeWire.
Yeah. Do we even want to get into LimeWire?
And there's LimeWire. There was what was what was the other one? The first music sharing thing that got
It
shut
was
down because of
it
rights.
was Napster.
Napster. That's right. One of the guys that helped found Facebook.
Did he?
That guy, he kind of coached Mark Zuckerberg along on how to start his company.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember a lot of the music people were pissed about Napster. And so they came after him because everyone was getting their music off Napster for free.
sit there and download a bunch of music on your computer and then transfer it over either to a CD or to
Yeah,
your MP3 player.
yeah, and then once Napster got shut down, remember that's when LimeWire got hot.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the one you had to watch because I bet everyone's computer always failed them after a few times because God knows what we were looking at.
How many viruses were conceived that way?
Yeah, well, I'm sure my computer received a lot. You'd always get that blue screen after a while.
Yep.
Oh, you know the blue screen too.
Oh yeah, start running real slow,
Hmm.
and then it start throwing pop-ups up just as fast as you could click out of them.
Oh yeah, yep, yep. And then with those computers came floppy disks.
Floppy disks.
We
Yep.
might even had CDs back then in those. We might the LimeWire and Napster days were like probably the first edge of like broadband that we were getting.
So I had one of the first, I think it was Microsoft Flight Simulator 5.0 or whatever it was in the early 90s. And the whole program came on floppy disks. There were like 6 disks that it took to load this program onto your computer in MS-DOS.
Yeah, the one where you had to go like C:\\/ just to get in there.
It was like entry-level coding
Yeah,
just to get something to run.
I remember that. That's crazy the things we remember because I bet I was probably like maybe 6 or 7 having one of those computers. I mean, so we're talking 30 years ago.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm amazed sometimes that my parents didn't just kill me because I used to get that computer so jacked up. Go in and delete a whole bunch of shit trying to make it run faster.
Yep. Yeah, there were times like I just reset the whole computer because I was like, shit, this is bad. This is bad. Let me go in and just master reset the whole thing. But then, like, remember the old original Macs? Well, I don't know if they were original, but they always had the color backing
Yeah, those
and they
to
were
me, those
clear.
were one of the newer ones. Those are
Yeah.
like the ones we had when I was in high school.
Yeah, the same. Well, I had them in middle school, but you're 4 years older than me. It was called an iMac G3.
Mm-hmm. So I think
To me,
what's that? Sorry.
I thought those were like the coolest computers back in the day.
Oh, absolutely. No, I remember using them in the library thinking, this is the hottest thing ever.
I remember sitting in school and the librarian could pull up the screen and see what everyone was looking at one time. And I used to see so many people get in trouble because they were like looking at naked girls or porn, and he'd come in and pull them out, and they'd get detention for it. And it's like, he's watching. Like, why are you doing it?
Yep. I remember the first edition Apple Macintosh computers that didn't even have a colored screen.
Do you remember the sound? And they had that one sound that made them start too.
And it was very addicting, the sound.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a sound we're going to have to look up. I can hear it in my head right now.
I can too. Let me see if I can find it.
And then Trolls. Remember Trolls? Everyone had Trolls.
Oh yeah.
I was in the middle of a Lyft ride the other night. I don't remember what we were talking about or how we got started on it, but we were talking about the old starter jackets. Do you remember those? They were pullover.
Oh yeah. How could
And
you forget?
everyone had them. They were all of like your football team basically, so everyone had one, and they were the hottest jacket on the market, man. That's one thing I wish they'd bring back.
Yeah, they were big at the time. I remember that.
Those starter pullovers.
I think I
Man.
still have mine, my original one from high school.
Oh, did you?
Mm-hmm.
I wish I still had mine. I had a Cowboys one.
All right, here's a bunch of the Macintosh sounds.
Let's hear it.
1 second. Oh yeah, you always get one of these ads in there. Always.
You got to pay for premium, dude. Why aren't you a premium customer?
I refuse.
That's not the one I'm thinking of.
It's coming up. This one.
Yes, that's the one.
Hold on, let's replay that one.
I don't even know what you're playing there. Yep.
Yeah, apparently there's a whole bunch for all the different.
for each version.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Do you remember like when the cell phones first started coming out, and then everyone had like a Nokia black and white Nokia phone? They were all the same,
Oh yeah.
and the hottest game on them was Snake. Did you ever play Snake?
Hours worth. And they were like indestructible phones.
Yep, they were. They were some of the toughest phones on the market. And back then, you had to worry about roaming fees. So when you crossed county lines, you were probably roaming.
Yeah, roaming. You could be roaming and be like in the same town.
Yeah, yeah. And now we don't even got to worry about no matter where we go in the country. You don't even roam anymore.
I remember getting a phone. My wife and I took a cruise one time that went from LA to Hawaii. And
Uh,
my dad calls me day 2 into this cruise. It was 4 days at sea. So we were like halfway between Los Angeles and Hawaii. And I get this phone call and I answer. It's my dad. We maybe talked for 5 minutes. And the next month I got a bill in the mail for $55 at
it's like
sea maritime cell phone use.
$10 a minute.
Crazy.
Yeah, I know. I was looking at that because we're about to go, and I was just trying to compare carriers, seeing what they do, and like I run AT&T, so like they have like a $60 plan where you can talk like 100 minutes or something, and you get like I don't know 100 megabytes of data or something like that. And I'm like, man, really? It's like $60, and these ships are running, Elon Musk's new Starlink. And I'm like, you're telling me they're gonna block like Wi-Fi calling now? Nowadays we have all this technology where you can run Wi-Fi calling
Right.
for free. I mean, did you know you could be in like Spain and have your plane or your phone in airplane mode,
Mm-hmm.
and as long as you have Wi-Fi calling on,
You
it's free.
call through the Wi-Fi. Yeah, it's just like Alexa does.
Yeah,
We did it before they had service in Mexico for normal phones.
yeah,
We actually did that to call home from Mexico a couple times.
right. And it's like, why can't you do that from the ship? I mean, you pay for a premium plan that lets you stream.
Oh,
They're not gonna let you,
yeah, they totally
make a
could.
Wi. Yeah,
What you'll learn
I
about
guess.
this cruise world, Joseph, is that they will bill you for all the things they don't bill you for. They will bill you for every little thing that they need to.
Oh, I know, and we're about to go on one, dude. And I'm looking like comparing them to like because we're going on a Carnival one, But from what I read about Royal is Royal lets you do that. That's from what I read. I don't know if it's true or not,
Well, that'd be cool if they did.
right? But I'm not going on Royal. Pick Carnival.
Bring your own Starlink with you and set up your dish out there on the balcony.
Yeah, yeah. I showed you the picture of it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think it'll be cool for sure.
I wouldn't mind doing another one. I'd like to do a cruise that goes to Alaska.
Yeah, that would be sweet. You'd probably want to go in the wintertime. Sounds like the best time.
Yeah, I want to see some whales and stuff.
Some icebergs. Icebergs.
I don't want to see any of those. I don't want to be swimming in the cold water.
Oh, I thought you were gonna make your picture of your wife,
Yeah, might
laying
have
out
to
on the
do
bed.
some sketching.
I mean, you're a pretty good artist, Leo.
Yeah, I can sketch it out pretty good.
Get your rose up there on the couch, and
Yeah.
oh shoot, dude. Uh, what you bought your camper. How long ago did you buy your camper?
Excuse me. It's been about 6 years ago.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, already, believe it or not.
Was that the first one you bought?
Yep, very first. Well, I'd had another one when I was a lot younger, but this was the first one that was only mine.
What did you have when you were younger?
I had another tow behind. My
What that you were
cousin and I.
towing with that
What's that?
Ford Ranger you had? You were towing with that
No,
Ford Ranger?
my cousin and I went in halves on it, and we'd tow it with his truck.
Oh, really?
So we used to go elk hunting out of that.
I didn't know you elk hunted.
Oh yeah, I've been several times.
Since when, dude? You never talked about no elk hunting tours.
Shoot, I've been since I've known you. I don't do it much anymore. It's just not for what it takes to do it. It's a lot cheaper to just buy a good steak.
I don't know. I mean, maybe,
I'm like,
but you could also have the whole horse too.
yeah, like my wife
know?
doesn't like it. She doesn't like the meat, and I can't see doing that just for me.
Yeah.
But no, it's been a good camper. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I wouldn't mind getting one a little bit bigger next time.
Yeah, man, I want to start. I'd like to get one.
They have
Really would.
you should just go down there and look at what they have and figure out what you would need, and then narrow it down from there. That's all we did.
I mean, because what is yours, 18-footer?
It's a 27, I think.
Oh, is it that big?
Mm-hmm.
27. I mean, I wouldn't get anything that big. I think 18 is what I was looking at. Because doesn't like Coleman. I looked at a Coleman and it was like 18 foot,
Yeah, some of
I believe.
those are pretty. The Coleman's are a good brand.
But you got a place to store it. That's my downside.
Yeah, that's, and it sucks to have to pay a place to keep it too.
Yeah, because that's almost like another payment.
Yep,
I would bet.
exactly. It's like paying rent.
Yeah. So I'd have to rent it out in order to just pay for the rent there.
Exactly.
But I mean, I think it would be cool to head out, do an in-state tour since we're in Colorado, and you could go down to like the southwest corner
Oh yeah.
and then just work a circle or something, because I mean, I like the southwest corner of the state a lot. I don't know if you've ever spent a lot of time down there,
No,
but
I completely agree. I thoroughly enjoy it down there. Like we did a trip down to Cortez one time, and we stayed there for a week. But we went out to drove out to Utah and went and saw Monument Valley and did the whole Four Corners area thing.
oh yeah, you stopped where Forrest Gump ran by.
Yep, Forrest Gump Hill.
Hmm.
So couldn't go down there and not see that.
Did you ever make it to Uray?
No, we never made it there. We're talking about going there maybe this summer though.
Oh, you got to make that, dude. There's actually a KOA at Uray. There's actually a couple campgrounds there. And then I know there's a KOA and there's another one pretty close by. But then they got a hot springs there too.
Okay.
But the best part about Uray is I wouldn't make this drive with your camper. I would come if you're gonna go see Uray, come down from like go through Gunnison and Montrose and down, and then park your camper, and then from Uray go to Durango.
Okay.
I wouldn't make that drive with your camper. People do it. I've seen semis on there, but I don't know if you've ever heard of the $1,000,000 Highway.
And it'd be a little dicey, I think.
Oh yeah. Have you seen those pictures?
Oh, it's gorgeous from what I've seen.
It's such a cool drive. So sketchy though, man. It's 2-lane road, one going one way, the other, in places where there's like no guardrails and 100-foot drops.
Oh God. Yeah, no, I wouldn't want to tow a camper up there.
But I've seen semis take this, and there's hairpin turns in here, and you get up like almost to timberline, and you're up here on some of these peaks, close to around timberline, hitting these hairline turns. But it's so pretty, dude. Honestly, like one of my most favoriteest drives ever.
Yeah,
I would highly recommend that. Like
I'll have to
that would
get down
change your
there
whole mind.
get down there and check that out.
That drive would change your whole mind about the state just in general.
Another cool place that we went to last summer was South Dakota, the Black Hills area. And that was kind of a fun trip because you get to see things when you do an RV trip that you don't normally get to see because of all the stops you make along the way, stopping in all the little hodunk towns. But we went up through Wyoming, stayed in Douglas, Wyoming for a night, and then drove across over to Custer. We stayed outside in a town called Custer in South Dakota. That's right by Custer State Park.
Yeah.
And it's just beautiful area. Even Wyoming was pretty in its own way.
Well, yeah, a lot of people fish that river right through there, like through Douglas and right by Casper. I always hear people booking a lot of fishing trips through there.
I was absolutely amazed at how green it was through there.
Really?
I mean, just lush green grass, and it was crazy.
I don't think I've ever been north of Cheyenne, honestly.
Yeah, it was. I wouldn't mind going to see more of Wyoming either.
No, I've been west of Cheyenne on 80, and the winds howl through there like crazy.
Oh, it's always windy there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
How's the Lyft driving been going?
Oh, yeah. Well, since we're on Colorado, I had this guy. I picked him and his wife up, and they were from Boston, I think, and they had lived here for like 3 years now, and they go, I keep seeing these people with Colorado native stickers. I'm like, what does that mean to be Colorado native? I was like, so I was like, well, for one, they were born here, right? Like that's what that's what makes a native, right? Like they were born and raised. I was like, usually that's native.
Usually,
And
that's what that means.
but I was like, well, in general though, I mean, people don't realize this, but and I tell people that I pick up all the time because I don't pick up many natives when I drive, and they go, oh, you probably hate us, and I tell people, like I remember when our state was a place like nobody wanted to be. Remember, like we had nothing, nobody wanted to come here.
Oh yeah,
When we were kids, it was like Colorado's Colorado. There's nothing special about Colorado.
right,
I don't know if you felt the same way. We knew what Colorado was, but nobody else knew.
right. Nope, I
And
agree.
like we knew what the mountains were. We knew what we had here, and that's what I explained to like this guy. I was like, so we've had all these people just influx here from Chicago, New York, California, all these big towns, and they've really changed the dynamic of Colorado. you know, and that's really what's increased a lot of our prices around here because people come with straight cash where, they were already influxed with their high housing costs and they got to come here with cash and outbid all the locals, which forced the locals out.
Absolutely.
And so that's why you don't see many natives anymore. And I was like, that's what the sign means, okay? That's when you see that bumper sticker, that's what it means. And so everyone that gets in and goes, I know you don't like me. I know you don't like me. And I'm like, it's all good. I get it. I was like, so yeah, that's probably the number one conversation that's always had in a car. And they all say the same thing, dude. Oh, you probably don't like me. And they know. They like know what we think of them, which is true. I mean, it's true.
Yep. Yeah, Colorado's changed quite a bit, in the last, even just the last 10 years, but quite a bit over the last 25, 30 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you can't even go to the mountains now and not see a homeless person, dude.
Oh, I
And
know.
it's like, how are you living?
Who the hell would, I've always wondered, who the hell picks Colorado to go be homeless?
Yeah, who wants to live in this cold weather? But most of them, they're so drugged out. Like I think they don't even know how cold it is anymore.
Right? I would agree. Yeah, they're gonna have to get a handle on it pretty soon.
Yeah, I heard they did. They cleaned up Denver quite a bit.
That's good.
But I heard I don't know how true it is, but they were saying like a lot of the people I picked up, driving Uber and Lyft, were like. So I guess the mayor bought like a few hotels around town, from what I was hearing.
Okay.
And they put all these refugees in there because what was really happening is the streets were really just cranked up with refugees on the streets, and that's what made the homeless situation, I guess, look so bad in Denver. Because I mean, it was looking like L.A. for a little bit, dude.
Wow.
And a few people have told me this, and it comes out to be the same story, but I don't know how true it is. Is they bought like 3 Hiltons spread out around town, and they put them in there, and they gave them until like I want to say it was like this last week, and I guess they were offering them jobs and food, and they wouldn't take the jobs that we were offering them, and once this time's up, they have to go back out on the streets. And then with the food, I guess they didn't like the food we were feeding them, so they gave them the prepaid cards so they could go get their own food.
Right. Yeah, I'd heard that.
And I was like, "Hey, you're getting free food and you don't want like a $20 an hour job?" Like a lot of them, you'll see them on the streets of Denver and they stand at the stoplights with like old bottles of water filled with like washing fluid so they can like spray the window of your car and clean it
Oh yeah,
and hope you tip them,
totally. Yep.
and they're walking right through the middle of traffic.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. And there's people that do it just by choice. They like the
No, that's
lifestyle, and I don't know why.
well, and that's the other thing is like you look in the back of like some of these store parking lots now, like people jump from like store to store parking lots here and live out of their car. I was telling you the other day, I watched a lady from by where I work the last 2 mornings, Thursday and Friday, or Wednesday and Thursday. I drove. I'm pretty routine about the time I leave, and she was unfolding her blanket in the parking lot and rolling out of the back of her RAV4.
Wow.
But guess what? The best part was,
What?
it was the same place she worked,
Can you imagine?
sleeping in the parking lot of where you work.
Yeah, and how could you call yourself happy?
No,
You're not getting any change of scenery. You're literally living in a car at your work.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't
it's
know.
crazy. It is crazy, dude. Like, I mean, well, like me, like I'm working 2 jobs, but like I like my lifestyle right now, and I don't mind working 2 jobs because the second job is kind of my own freedom and pace,
Right.
and I have the time to do it.
Yep. Some things are worth working hard for.
They are.
Nothing in life ever came free.
No, so it's just crazy what people are doing. Like, I mean, even down the street from me, in the back of one of the Hobby Lobby um, parking lots, it's always full of like old homeless. Well, they're homeless, but RVs.
Yeah.
Old
Yep.
RVs that people are just going in.
That's how it is around here. I've got 2 new neighbors that live on the side of the road over here now in motorhomes.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, how did we get here?
Yeah, I don't know, dude. It's bad.
And we talk about like 90s, like we could walk down the street in the 90s. We can't walk down the street now.
No, and it's like it's sad because my kid will never get to experience the same kind of life as a kid that I did.
No, like,
Like walking to school, riding your bike to school. I
right?
would not dream of having my kid walk to school right these days.
No, same. It would have to be like literally right down the street.
Yep, absolutely.
That's nuts, man. But what do you think? I think we got a good stopping point.
Yeah,
We're at 40.
I agree. I think that was a good one. 40 minutes, 40, 45 minutes is perfect.
So, all right, buddy. We'll create the next one in a week.
Sounds like a winner. We got to edit some of these and get some music in there and
Yeah, get our picture going.
get our picture up there.
I'm gonna come see you tomorrow, though. I'll be down tomorrow.
Okay. Yep, I should be home all day. I ain't got nothing planned, so I'll be watching.
All right, I'll call you.
I'll be watching some Daytona 500.
All right, I'll call you right now.
Okay, sounds good, bud.
All right, homie.
All right, bye.
Bye.